I've always been curious, and I love asking musicians and specifically songwriters who come onto my show about hearing people scream their lyrics back to them. I can only imagine, especially when you're in your room or however that writing process starts, to hear people say the words that you had in your head at first, then put pen to paper, then recorded. What is that like? Because it's essentially you're putting these babies out into the world for them to consume, and you have the reaction.
It's crazy. Like there's some songs that I've literally written in my bedroom in Germany or like in my mom's basement in Germany because my neighbors would complain. So I'd like go to my mom's basement and write my songs there super late at night. And I had nobody to send them to but like 2 friends in Germany, like, and now they're like these, songs that like 6,000 people sing back to me, like that's crazy. It's just like it sometimes makes me want to cry. It sometimes makes me really emotional. It sometimes gives me like extra like power to go double as hard and to hit double as many ad-libs and to just like do double as many hair flips and
gotta have the hair flips, especially at a gay show.
So it's just it's a crazy surreal feeling that it's just like that's like always the like full circle moments when you're like, man, I've really like come a long way. So that's how I feel.
Do you constantly have music, not necessarily your own, but do you have like music or a beat playing in your head at all times, and you're like, remember that, so that way when I go into the studio or I try to write something down, I have it? Like, does music just constantly hit you?
Yes, totally. I think other people's music hits me all the time. Just like I hear like an amazing lyric from some random song somewhere and I'm like, whoa, that's incredible. I feel like I'm extremely like a fan of a lot of songwriters and a lot of pop stars and a lot of rappers. Like I just like I think I appreciate good writing so much that I'm just so passionate about it and constantly want to talk about it. And I'm just like, did you just hear that lyric? That's crazy. I'm just always like trying to like, I feel inspired by other people. I definitely sometimes just have like sentences stuck in my head and I sing them over and over again and try different melodies and stuff like that. I have a notebook with me usually all the time and write in it because once I'm back at the studio, I want to have like the whole book full of words and sentences that I like and that mean something to me. In conversations with people, I'm always like, that could be a good song, like just saving it in the back of my head, which can be really awkward because like you can't just like stop an emotional like conversation with somebody to be like, wait a second, write that down.
I need this
I'm going to use that and then put it in a song. Totally. So it's it's definitely always in the back of my head. I always kind of am like, how can I use this and flip it and make it into a song?
There's something special about being a songwriter in that you're able to not only tap into your vulnerabilities, but talk about things that are somewhat universal to at least somebody in the audience. There's going to be somebody who's either dealt with heartbreak. I mean, more than somebody has dealt with heartbreak. But I wanted to talk about the song Icy because the video's out and it really does resonate with at least someone like me. It talks about a toxic relationship. That's something I've had in my past. And this idea of how do you release yourself from something that you thought was good for you at the beginning, but you need to survive. You need to find a way to push through and choose you at the end.
Yeah.
So if you can talk a little bit about Icy and when you sing it now, the differentiation between singing it now and when you first recorded it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So it happened after I was just writing a bunch of really emo, depressing songs, and none of them had any angle that were uplifting in any way. And I was just going to make a completely emo like record. In the beginning, Clarity was going to be like the saddest thing ever.
Because sometimes you need to get that out of your body, get it out of your system.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have been Clarity either. But I kind of just, in that session with this amazing guy, Tyrone Thomas, was talking about like how my breakup went down and like how I feel better now. And, I was talking about all the sad stuff and he was just kind of like, well, all of that stuff will make you better in your next thing. And, you have so much to focus on and so much to do. And, I was definitely feeling that way. And I was like, well, my career life is going as good as it ever has and better. And I have so many amazing things coming up. I'm going on tour again, all those amazing things. And I just feel like it made me like bionic, and it made me stronger in a way, to that same bullshit. Like I will never go like through that same bullshit again, because like I've learned. And also I was just like listening to a bunch of songs that kind of were like that. Like Britney Spears' Stronger is like the biggest inspiration to that song.
I love that.
And just, kind of being a better person and working on yourself, I guess. So yeah, it's kind of just, something that just happens after breakups. You just learn and you're like, well, that sucked, and I'm cooler now. So I feel like it's very much just like, I'm cooler now than I was.
And I love that
you.
at least everybody that I know who's ever gone through a breakup usually turns to music. Whether it's that, how we all paint the music video in our head about like, oh, we're listening to this song and this is how we would be if it was a music video. But what do you find music to be therapeutic? Not necessarily writing it or recording it, but just listening to it? Or what are the things that kind of help take you out of that icy mentality that you were at when you wrote that song?
Yeah, I definitely find music super therapeutic, and I think relating to a song is the coolest thing ever, because like you're like, I'm not the only person feeling this way, which is something that feels great, and which is why songwriters write songs, because they feel misunderstood and they want to feel understood. And so yeah, I definitely just like turn to music all the time. I love just having like me and like my headphones have always been like place where I can just forget about my problems and get away from it. Like when I used to be in school and I hated school and I hated my life, and a lot of shit in my mind was just like, I hate life. I would just like put on Gwen Stefani music videos and watch them over and over and kind of live in that bubble and in that world, and it would take me out of my like miserable place for a couple of hours. So that's what music does for me, and that's what I've wanted to do, and that's why I'm like thankful, and why I feel like musicians, like, and especially pop girls, were like my best friends when I was like a teenager. So I have a very like near, like dear place in my heart for all of them. And yeah, I just want to do that same shit. I just want people to be able to forget about their problems when they're at my shows, when they listen to my music, when they watch my music videos, and take them into a little like bubble. That's dope.
Nice.
Yeah.
I only because you referenced it about sort of just putting on a lot of Gwen Stefani videos and have that be part of it.
Yeah.
But I am very big about like YouTube rabbit holes where I'll watch something and I'll go down another. Okay, so perfect. What does a Kim Petras rabbit hole YouTube binge look like?
Oh my God. It can start anywhere from like old Madonna videos and then go into like, I love old Madonna videos that I like haven't seen. There's like so many that
There's
like
a lot to choose
totally. And then it usually drifts, like sometimes it drifts into like Italian disco shit. Like I love finding the most awkward, like weird niche music videos. Like I feel like that's how I found like Baltimore. Remember like Tarzan Boy and Jukebox Boy, and
that's
that
really
like
funny.
His pants are crazy in that. Like sometimes it goes into like cringe videos. I'm obsessed with cringe.
Really?
And, like, I love curse TikToks and that whole cringe sensation. I found like amazing videos. Like if you ever want to see something like amazing, like there's one video that's called The Creepy Yoga Teacher or a Yoga Barn.
I'm totally gonna use it as soon as I get upstairs.
Cringy.
That's probably gonna be the one thing I'm gonna do, and then go
like,
from there.
It's like this dude that like teaches these kids all of these like weird positions, and he's like, "That's a nice tomato, Michael." Like it's like the worst ever. It's just there's something about cringe I'm absolutely obsessed with.
Nice.
But yeah, I feel like I always start out just watching music videos,
and then go.
And
from
these
there.
days I just drift into the most awkward, weird stuff.
And it's funny because like
that's
at this point the internet knows everything about everybody. I mean, I'm more so as somebody who's famous, but I love like what the suggestive videos are based off the other shit that I've watched. Like, oh, you know that I'm a weird person at 10:30 at night.